I'm Effie, and this is What Effie Reads. Today's video is my first time using my new TBR game. I will put a link up above in the cards for the full description. But basically I use a game of Pokémon that I've played recently, and for each Pokémon that I encounter there are prompts based on their type, and from that I will pick my TBR for the month. So for this month I have decided that I want to put 8 books on my TBR. So without further ado, let's get started. This game was my first time playing Pokémon Sword, and since I'm not terribly familiar with the Pokémon characters, I've decided that, at least for the moment, the encounters with the Pokémons are basically when I have to battle. So wild Pokemon, Pokemon that I'm challenged to battle by random people in game, and I'm also going to include my starter Pokemon because I am really. The first Pokemon that I encountered was water type Sobble. I want them all! They're all so adorable! I think I usually prefer a fire type, but I'm really leaning towards the Sobble. Yeah, I think the Sobble's very me. Yay! I have my first Pokemon. Shall I give it a nickname? Yes. I'm gonna name this Shannon, because it is gonna be my best friend in the game. So the first Pokemon that I encountered was my starter Pokemon, and as you can see in that clip, I chose Sobble as my starter Pokemon. It was a difficult choice between the 3 starters, but I gravitated towards the cuteness that is Sobble. As Sobble is a water type, the prompt is a buddy read. This month's buddy read with Shannon over at Head in the Books is Show Us Who You Are by Elle McNichol. And it is this book here. So that is the first book on my TBR for the month of June. Let's see which Pokemon I encountered next. The next Pokemon that I encountered was Wooloo. I'm not sure how that one's pronounced. In a battle, and that is a normal type Pokemon. So I just needed to pick a book that was 300 to 500 pages long, and I have picked Circus of Wonders by Elizabeth McNeil. Let's see what Pokemon I encountered next. The next Pokemon that I encountered was Scorbunny, again in a battle that I was challenged to. And since Scorbunny is a fire type, I need to read a hyped book. So I am I'm going to pick up Amari and the Night Brothers. This one. Okay, let's see what I get to add next. Oh yay, an encounter. Oh, it's a fat squirrel. I love it. The next Pokemon that I encountered was a wild Squirvet, which again is a normal type, so a book that's 300-500 pages long, and I've decided to read Grotesque by Natsuo Kirino. That's book number 4. Let's see what book number 5 will be. Another encounter. Oh, it's a Rookidee. The next Pokemon that I encountered was a wild Rookidee, which is a flying type. So I get to add a mood read to my pile. So that will be a book that at some point in the month I just fancy picking up. I think I'm probably leaning towards something horror, so maybe Tommy or House of Hollow, but you never know what I'm going to fancy, to be honest. Let's see if number 6 will be a book I can actually add to this stack. Another fat squirrel! The next Pokemon that I encountered was yet another wild Squirvet. So that is another normal book, so 300-500 pages. I'm going to have to consult my shelves and see what I can find, and I'll get back to you in a second. For the 6th book that I'm going to add to the pile is an arc of true crime story by Joseph Knox. According to Storygraph, it is 400 pages, so perfect for this prompt. And on to the 7th book. Let's see what I get for that prompt. Oh, is that another Rookidee? It is. The next Pokemon that I encountered was another Rookidee. So again, that's a flying type, so that's a second mood read that I get to add to my TBR. So this is looking like a pretty decent month. And now on to the final one. Let's see what I get. Potion. What phone? Oh, it's a Willow! I still can't capture it though, because I still don't have Pokeballs. The final Pokemon was another Wooloo, which means I need to find another book that is 300-500 pages long. So let's have a look what's on my shelves. I think I'll have a look to see what's right behind me. I think for my final pick, I'm going to pop Adjustment Day by Chuck Palahniuk onto my list. So that is my 8 books that I am popping on my June TBR. So this is what my stack looks like, but obviously we will add on to that 2 mood reads and an e-arc. I should probably note the reason that I've had particular trouble with the normal prompt is next month I'm participating in Whatever You Want-a-thon run by Maddie over at Book Browsing Blog, and part of it is there's a competition element where you pick a team and you get extra points for reading within your team genre. I've chosen to join Comrades of Chaos, so essentially it's anything that isn't middle grade fantasy or contemporary. So I'm trying to go for horror, sci-fi, thrillers, that kind of thing. So, what did you think of the books that I have decided to pick up in the month of June? Have you read any of these? And I hope you enjoyed this TBR game. If you tuned in for the premiere, thank you very much. So until next time, bye!